Hey guys, what's up? It's it's Storm, and I'm sorry if my voice sounds weird. I've got a bit of a sore throat, and today's gonna be episode 2 of Ghost Stories. I have a few stories that are, excuse me, from either my point of view or like my family's point of view. I think I've got two from my family, two or three from my family, I think, because the one from me is pretty long and more detailed, so that's gonna be its own episode. In the background, I think there's some gun game on BO3, and I know I have a major death streak when I hit the Argus, because I'm terrible at that gun. I'm terrible with shotguns in this game. And I do make a really good comeback though, so I decided to keep the gameplay. And if I go past that, I'm pretty sure that I'm just gonna end up using just some TDM or something. I don't know yet. Okay. So the first story I have is from my mother. Um, this happens about the time when I was 3. Uh, so she was the only person besides me in my house. Me and her were the only two in the house at that point in time. And uh, as I mentioned in the last story, our attic is on the rather haunted side. So this story talks a bit about the attic. So let's go ahead and get into it. Uh, One time when I was about 3, my mom was getting ready to take a shower. So she's in the bathroom next to the stairs to the attic. And if you come down the attic stairs, to the direct right is the bathroom. And if you cross the hall, you basically run directly into my room. And I was in bed. I was asleep because it was later at night. And so I was just laying in my toddler bed, crashed out. And my mom heard some sounds at first coming from the attic. And then she decided to listen a bit closer. And she said that she heard at least 2 men talking. And it sounded like they were coming from the attic. And then she heard heavy walking on the attic stairs. And when I say heavy walking, the way she described it was more like if you had a very large man that was making a lot of noise as you walked down the stairs, basically. And so my mom's a very rational person and didn't jump to the conclusion that it was paranormal. She figured that someone had broken into our house during the day and was like waiting till they thought everyone was asleep to like rob the house. And so basically she was just trying to figure out how to get me out of the house, because I was right across the hallway from where she heard what sounded like 2 large men coming down the stairs. So she was just trying to figure out how to get me away from the danger. And you know she gets the idea that since it sounded like they had like stopped walking and were talking again, so she figured that that was a good time to go across the hallway and get to me, because they weren't moving. That'd just be her time to run across the hall. So she prepared and she slowly opened the bathroom door, still hearing the voices, and like ran across the hallway and went to open the door to my room. And she said that when she got to my room, she didn't hear anything. She didn't hear any voices or any footsteps. So she goes into my room and she's kind of waited around and kept listening because she wouldn't be 100% sure. And then just as soon as all those noises and footsteps and voices had started, they just stopped. They were gone. And that's all that she remembered and told me in that story. So on to the next one, I guess. So ever since I was a little kid, I'd ask my family members like about not ever since I was a little kid, but like ever since I was in the 8 or 9 or 10 range. I asked my family things about things I had said as I was a little child, like in the 3, 4, and 5 range, when I couldn't remember things. And most were just fun little things I had said, you know, just silly things I could say. But then I kind of asked them, if I'd ever said anything on the creepy side or just like unsettling. And I have 2 stories. One is from my grandma. The story was when I was too young to remember this myself, but old enough to talk. So I'm assuming 3 or 4. No, it couldn't have been 3 or 4. It had to be the beginning of my age at 3. So, my dad was still with my mom at the time, and he was home, and my mom was at work. But my grandma was watching me. She's helping watch me. And this is the same house from all the other stories, the same one I still live in. And this is the only house that me and my mom have ever lived in. Well, she's lived in one before me, but this is the only house I've ever lived in. But I was playing with my grandma, and I told her I wanted to go visit the man in the tall hat. Now, I do like to include logic here. This has a chance to be imaginary due to my age, and also the fact that I used to love a TV show called Thomas the Tank Engine, and there's a character named Sir Topham Hatt who wore a tall hat, like the one that Willy Wonka wears, but black. There's like one for like suits. But the only reason I say that this is not, it just doesn't seem right, is because I knew the characters in that TV show all by name very well, and I would have called him Sir Topham Hatt. I wouldn't have called him the man in the tall hat. Anyway, so I had always told her I want to go visit him. I want to go visit him. I want to go visit him. And I'd always tell her that he lived in my room, and this apparently this went on for years, and this will come back around, I believe, in other stories, because I do believe that spirit still haunts my room in some way, because just things still happen at times. But so that's basically what happened. Was I told her there was a man in the tall hat and I wanted to go visit him. Another reason that I disclaim this from being imaginary is because I did this a lot, like multiple times, and I was too young to keep a story up for more than 5 minutes. So that's what I think I can throw in as a credibility. And now on to the next story. This story is from my mom's recollection. When my mom was in high school, her, my grandparents, and uncle lived in a trailer. I don't remember where this was, I just know they lived in a trailer. Her room was the last down the hallway. It was in the very back. Now, everyone but my uncle saw this. At least that's what my mom says. She doesn't remember if he's ever saw it, but she says everyone else had. It was a lady who had on just some long blue dress. She'd usually be seen coming out of my mom's room, and sometimes into the bathroom that was next to her room. And you could always hear in my mom's room messing with like makeup and perfumes and stuff like that, rattling bottles, moving the items, and just doing stuff like that. But then you'd go in and nothing would be disturbed. Like nothing, it'd all be the same as when my mom left it. Now, one night my mom was in the house by herself, and they had a Rottweiler named Zap, and Zap had came down the hallway rather startled. Like clearly upset. Like, I don't know if you guys are dog owners, but if you've ever had a dog, you can tell when a dog is scared of something. They'll put their nose down, they'll whine, they'll shake. You can tell. And again, my mom, being rational, figured someone had broken into the house and the dog had seen it. But then the dog was urging my mother down the hallway, and again, if you've had dogs, the dog, a dog will do anything to get you to do it at once. Like, they'll like brush up against your leg toward the direction. They'll like whine at you till they fall, until you like follow the dog. That's just what they do to get you to follow them. That's how they urge you. So my mom followed the dog down the hallway, and slowly, this lady in the blue dress walked from my mom's room into the bath. No, from the, my bad, my mistake here. She walked from the bathroom into my mom's room. Now my mother has no idea why this startled the dog so much, as the dog had lived in the house for years with the spirit, always walking around. But just something was wrong that day. Maybe the dog had seen something about it, or who knows. But I just found that story very interesting because I know that dogs and other animals have a tendency to have like a higher knowledge, not knowledge, but like a higher sensitivity to paranormal things like that. So I figured that was like a more solid thing, like to prove that it's not, more proof kinda. But anyway, then my mother has this description of the lady. It was a Victorian era long blue dress, was transparent and had almost no features. When I asked my mom about like what the lady looked like, just curiously, my mom said that no features, nothing, just a long blue dress, and that was it. So yeah, that's all I have for this episode of Ghost Stories. I'll see you guys in the next one. If you did enjoy, please do like, favorite, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, the next one is in the same context, but it's from my mother. Now, I saw my mother, and I saw a man in like boots and a long coat, like kind of like a trench coat. And this, I say, could not be imagination. Because the only TV show that I really watched was Bob the Builder and Thomas the Tank Engine. Neither of those had characters in them with trench coats and boots. Like, I wasn't watching Columbine shooter documentaries as a 3-year-old. You know, there was no trench coats and boots. But anyway, I digress. I always tell her that he was in the backyard and that he would like be back there while I was playing, and I would tell her always like, "Oh, the man in the boots is in the backyard. Let's go visit him. The man in the boots is in the backyard. Go visit him." And again, I do say this couldn't be imagination because I did this so much as a kid, like so much, and I couldn't even keep a story going for 5 minutes, let alone half a year at least. These have happened so much that there's no way this could have been faked. And then I have one more story.